Welcome to Clever Money Hacks, the channel where money moves and life improves. In today's episode, we'll be discussing a really fascinating retrospective on personal growth and business performance.
It's great to be here. And honestly, today is a bit of a departure for us.
It is, isn't it?
Usually we're dissecting a specific asset class, a market trend, or looking at the numbers on a balance sheet.
Right, the hard data.
Exactly.
Okay.
But today we are analyzing the operating system of a high performer.
Exactly. We are doing a deep dive into a specific set of mindset lessons shared by entrepreneur Dan Martell. And the context here is pretty unique.
It is.
He's looking back at the year 2025, reflecting on the lessons that shaped his year, with the specific goal of helping people create a breakout year in 2026.
Right. And to set the stage, Martell is speaking from the perspective of being 46 years old. And he's talking directly to an audience that is, primarily in their 20s and 30s.
So he's giving that perspective back.
He is. He's offering up 9 specific lessons, plus one really heavy-hitting bonus lesson that he says are essential for what he calls weightless living.
Weightless living. I want to pause on that because it's such an evocative phrase.
It really is.
Usually when we talk about high performance or entrepreneurship, the metaphors are all heavy. We talk about the grind, the hustle, or carrying the load.
It's all about weight.
Yeah. But Martell is arguing for the opposite.
He is. His whole thesis is that as you scale, whether that's your net worth, your business, your life responsibilities, the goal isn't to get stronger legs to carry a heavier backpack.
Okay.
The goal is to take rocks out of the backpack. He wants you to ascend without the drag.
I love that image. So the mission for this deep dive is to unpack these rocks. We want to see how these lessons stack up not just as business advice, but as a framework for actually enjoying the ride.
Precisely. And it starts internally. It has to start with the game you play in your own head.
Let's jump into that first segment then, the internal game. The first lesson he drops right out of the gate has this really catchy hook. New level, new devil.
It's a classic rhyme, isn't it? I feel like I've heard that for decades. But I think Martell takes it a bit deeper than the usual interpretation.
How so?
Usually when people say new level, new devil, they mean more money, more problems. They think it means the external world gets harder.
Right, more lawsuits, more tax complexity, more employees to manage, like leveling up in a video game and the boss just gets bigger.
Exactly. But Martell is arguing that the devil isn't an external enemy. The devil is actually the things you refuse to let go of.
Oh, that's a twist. So it's not about fighting a bigger monster out there, it's about shedding your own inventory.
That's the perfect way to put it. He says every single step up requires a new level of letting go. We get stuck because we hold on to old beliefs, old habits, old ways of operating that worked for us at the previous level.
But they become anchors at the new one.
They become anchors.
Can you give me a concrete example of that? Because letting go can sound a little vague.
Sure.
Yeah.
Think about a founder who built a company from scratch. At level 1, their superpower was doing everything themselves.
Yeah.
They were the best salesperson, the best coder, the best customer support agent.
Total control is their asset?
Was. But at level 10, if they try to hold on to that control, they become the bottleneck. The devil, at level 10, is their inability to trust others.
So the asset becomes a liability.
Yeah.
Defeating the new devil is really an act of release.
Exactly. You can't climb the mountain if you're still carrying the gear you used to walk through the valley.
Yeah.
And that leads directly into the internal narrative required to make that climb. This was lesson 6 in his list, but it connects perfectly here. It's about confidence.
Yeah, this one hit me hard. He defines confidence in a way I hadn't really heard before. We usually think of confidence as something you project outward, right?
Swagger.
Swagger, volume, how you walk into a room, the firm handshake.
Right? The whole fake it till you make it school of thought. But Martell just flips it. He says confidence is the reputation you have with yourself.
Reputation with yourself. That's a profound shift.
It changes the game completely. It means confidence isn't about audience perception. It's about data. It comes from keeping your private promises.
The promises you make when no one is watching.
Exactly. Discipline, consistency.
So if I say I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. to work out and I hit snooze.
You just damaged your reputation with yourself.
Yeah.
You just taught yourself that you can't trust your own word. And Martell's point is, if you don't trust your own word, how can you possibly project genuine confidence to a team or an investor?
They'll pick up on that hesitation.
They pick up on that micro-hesitation. It's funny because we treat our friends so much better than this.
Oh, totally.
Martell used a very visceral analogy for that. He said, if you had a friend who lied to you as often as you lie to yourself, Yeah, I'll start on Monday. Just one more episode. I'll eat healthy today. And then broke that promise every time.
You'd never trust them again.
He said you probably punch that person in the face.
It's aggressive, but he's right. We tolerate an internal bully or a flake that we would never, ever tolerate in our social circle.
We'd cut that friend off years ago. And that's the takeaway. If you want to level up, you have to build that internal reputation first. You have to honor your own word.
Okay, so we've got the internal game. We're letting go of old habits. We're building confidence by keeping promises to ourselves. Now, how does this impact the reality we actually live in? Martel gets into what I'm calling the physics of life.
Yeah, this is where we get a little into the metaphysics of success. This was his lesson 4, life as a byproduct.
This sounded almost like The Matrix when I first read it. The world isn't as it is. The world is as you are. It feels a little woo-woo at first glance, doesn't it?
It does, until you ground it in psychology. The idea is that your life, your bank account, your fitness, your relationships, it's all 100% a byproduct of your dominant thoughts, actions, and feelings.
You can't change the output without changing the input.
You can't. He used a great analogy about a house to explain this.
Oh, this really cleared it up for me.
He said if you want a massive, fancy mansion, you don't actually want the structure of the house. You don't crave drywall and shingles and plumbing.
Right? You want the feeling that you think the house will give you. Safety, accomplishment, pride, status, whatever it is.
So if the house didn't provide that feeling, say, you inherited it, but it was haunted or in a war zone.
You wouldn't want it. You wouldn't care about the bricks and mortar.
Exactly. So the lesson is you have to become the person who embodies those feelings before the material success arrives. You have to be the person who has the success to get the success.
So it's not fake it till you make it. It's more like embody it to attract it.
It's about internal alignment. And this connects directly to his 3rd lesson, which is super practical for anyone who is building something. Energy in equals energy out.
This one is huge for creators, for entrepreneurs, even just people writing reports for their boss.
Definitely. Martel talks about his experience writing his book. And he realized that the audience, or the customer, they feel exactly what the creator felt while making the product.
That's a scary thought. If I'm stressed and miserable recording this deep dive.
The listener feels stressed and miserable. Subconsciously, yes. If you are bored or stressed or just phoning it in while you do the work, the receiver feels that lack of energy. It's flat.
It's like cooking, right? You can taste if the chef was angry or rushing. The food might look right, but it lacks soul.
That's a perfect analogy. He says you have to honor yourself and fight for the work that feels great to you. If you aren't excited, the reader won't be. It's a direct transfer of energy.
But wait, here's where it gets really interesting, or maybe really painful, because sometimes we feel like we are putting in the energy, but we aren't getting the result.
We think we're working hard, but the universe isn't paying out.
Yes. And that leads to Lesson 8, the accountability reality check.
This is the tough love portion of the deep dive. The quote is, "You can't complain about the outcomes for the work you didn't do."
Oof, that stings. It sounds so simple, but we lie to ourselves about this constantly.
Would you? Martel shared a really specific story about his 2025. He said he really wanted his social media content to pop off, to go viral, grow massive. That was his expectation.
He was looking at other creators and thinking, why not me?
Exactly. But then he looked at the data. He looked at his own inputs.
And he had to be honest with himself.
He did. He was traveling the world with his family, focused on his AI venture studio. And when he audited his time, he realized he was only allocating about 3 hours a week to content creation.
3 hours a week, while the people he was comparing himself to were probably doing 3 hours a day.
Or more. There's a massive delta, a gap between his expectation and his effort. And his point is, if you aren't giving 10-10 effort, you forfeit the right to complain about the result.
So if you're putting in 3 hours a week effort, you can't be mad at 3 hours a week results.
Exactly. It's just physics. Input matches output. You can have the result you want, but you need the corresponding input. Otherwise, you just have to make peace with it.
The suffering isn't the lack of result. It's the delusion that you deserved more for the work you put in.
Precisely.
All right, so we've covered the internal game and the physics of work. Now we have to talk about other people. Because as you level up, the people around you change. And Martel had some pretty blunt things to say about friends and haters.
This is lesson 2, the cost of surpassing others. It addresses a very common, very painful phenomenon.
It really is. You start succeeding, maybe getting fit or making money, and your old friends, they start attacking you.
It's confusing, isn't it? You'd think the people who knew you back when would be the most happy for you.
So why does success breed contempt?
Well, psychologically, when you surpass people you grew up with, you are inadvertently holding up a mirror to them. You're all showing them exactly where they gave up.
That's deep. So my success proves that their excuses were just excuses.
Exactly. If you both started in the same place and you chose to wake up early and take risks, and they chose comfort, seeing you win destroys their narrative that it's impossible.
It proves they could have done it too, but chose not to.
And that triggers deep insecurity, which manifests as criticism. Martez's advice is basically, don't take it personally. It's about their journey, not yours.
Right. But, okay, if we ignore the haters, who do we listen to? We can't just operate in a vacuum.
And that brings us to lesson 9, the mentor filter. This is a really crucial nuance because find a mentor is standard advice.
Yeah, everyone says it, but Martell adds a warning label.
The rule is, don't take criticism or advice from people whose life you don't want to live.
And he doesn't just mean, don't listen to broke people if you want to be rich. It's more than that.
It's much more holistic. He tells a story about hiring a very wealthy mentor, someone he really looked up to professionally. This guy had the business success Martell wanted, but as they got closer,
He started seeing cracks in the character.
exactly, health issues, family struggles, maybe some ethical gray areas. The bank account was full, but the life was empty.
And Martell realized, I don't actually want that life.
Right. Even if the guy have the money, the total package isn't aspirational. So he had to create space. He stopped replying because that mentorship is dangerous if you only look at one slice of the pie.
That is such a good filter. It's not just, does this person have what I want? It's, is the price they paid for it a price I'm willing to pay?
Exactly. If the price of their fortune was their family or their health, and you value those things, their advice might actually lead you off a cliff.
And speaking of paying prices and making choices, that segues perfectly into lesson 7. How do you decide what to say yes to?
The hell yes or heck no rule.
It sounds so simple, but it is incredibly hard to practice.
It's a simple binary. If your internal reaction isn't an immediate hell yes, then the answer should be no.
He told a story about a guy at the gym asking him to be on a podcast. Martell likes podcasts, he likes helping people, but his internal thermometer just said,
And because it wasn't a hell yes, he declined. And the key phrase he used there is one everyone needs to write down. No is a complete sentence.
I love that. You don't need a 10-minute excuse about your cat being sick or your schedule being crazy.
You don't. Just, no thank you.
No.
We clog up our lives with mediocre yeses. We agree to things out of guilt or obligation or FOMO.
And that fills up the space on the calendar that should be reserved for the amazing opportunities.
You have to clear the calendar for greatness.
Okay, so life is still going to punch us in the face sometimes, even with all this preparation.
It is. And that brings us to lesson 5 and the bonus lesson, which I think are the most powerful parts of this whole thing. This is where the rubber meets the road.
Lesson 5 is pain as a teacher.
Martell makes a bold claim here. Humans never get better when things are easy. Never.
It's true, though, isn't it? Nobody transforms their life because they sat on a beach for a month. You might get rested, but you don't get better.
Exactly. Evolution requires resistance. Muscles only grow when you tear them. So Martell suggests a reframe. When a massive challenge hits a business failure, a lawsuit, the correct response isn't, why me?
It's good.
It's good.
That sounds very Jocko Willink, but it sounds like he's almost inviting the pain.
He is. He's viewing himself as a worthy opponent for the challenge. He says bigger problems equal a bigger life. If your biggest problem is that your coffee was cold, your life is probably small.
So you're not trying to avoid problems, you're trying to upgrade the quality of your problem.
Right, and this is the critical pivot. There is a danger in pain, too. Pain is a teacher, yes, but only if you process it. If you don't, it becomes toxic.
And that leads us to the bonus lesson, the one he saved for last. Unhealed pain becomes company policy.
This one blew my mind.
Can you break that down? Because that sounds like it explains a lot of bad bosses I've had.
It absolutely does. Think about it. If you have unhealed trauma, let's say you were betrayed by an employee 5 years ago, that hurts. If you don't heal that trust wound, you unknowingly create rules to protect yourself from feeling that again.
So because one person stole from you once, now you create a policy where you have to sign every single check, even for $5.
Exactly. You become a bottleneck. You create micromanagement structures, not because it's good for business, it's actually terrible for business, but because it feels safe for you. Your unhealed pain is now the operating manual for your whole team.
And he mentioned that it goes the other way too, right? It's not just about being a dictator.
Right, it's a spectrum. Maybe your unhealed pain is a fear of conflict. So your policy becomes that you never hold anyone accountable. You become a doormat.
So you're either a dictator or a doormat, and both are symptoms of the same thing.
Rocks in your backpack.
Ah, back to the beginning.
That's the image he uses. We're all climbing a mountain, but we're carrying this backpack full of big rocks. Those rocks are our unhealed traumas, our old beliefs, our fears. And weightless living isn't about getting stronger legs to carry the rock.
It's about taking the rocks out.
That is the ultimate unlock. Enlightenment, success, whatever you want to call it, is just doing the work to remove those rocks. When you heal the pain, you remove the policy. You stop micromanaging, you stop seeking validation. You just walk up the mountain.
That is such a powerful way to tie everything together. The confidence, the no, handling criticism, it's all just removing rocks.
It is. The mission here was to look at how to make 2026 a breakout year. And Martel's argument is that the breakout doesn't come from adding more strategies or more hustling. It comes from internalizing these lessons and lightening the load.
It really is all about the internal game. If you fix the internal reputation, the external one takes care of itself. If you fix the internal energy, the product sells itself.
And if you heal the internal pain, you stop building prisons for yourself and your team. You stop being the lid on your own potential.
So for everyone listening, we've covered a lot, but the invitation here is to not just nod your head, right?
Right. Martel was very clear. 2026 changes only if you apply this. Information without application is just entertainment.
So I want to leave everyone with a provocative thought to mull over based on that bonus lesson.
Go for it.
Look at your current policies, not just at work, in your house, in your relationship, in your daily routine. Look at the rules you enforce. Maybe it's, I never let anyone else drive, or I always have to check the email before it goes out.
Or, I never talk about money.
Yes, and ask yourself, which of those rules are actually logical and which ones are just your unhealed pain wearing a disguise?
That is the question.
If you can answer that, you can start taking rocks out of the backpack. And that is where the breakout year begins.
That is it.
Thank you for listening to today's episode, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your ideas for future episodes. See you next time.